but not Seth rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches if Clinton's getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking out your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches if Clinton's getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking out your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich.
I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking out your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had a glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. Bitch, wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I really had a I'm like a llama. I whip the beat out like Michael Obama. I got that deep energy. Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip the thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step like me. If you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clip, bitch. Hung like a llama. I whip that dick out. Spots in the deep they lurk, like twisted water dogs. In shadows they smirk. Down in the rivers, out in the seas, masters of the deep, dolphin mysteries. Bottlenose freaks, short beaks in the night. Humpback shadows, pygmies out of sight. All the dolphins, you know it's true. Rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty. Ruling the waves, dolphin Illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks. Underwater rulers, the power peaks. In ocean depths, their counts to 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain. Aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those outside. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. I tried giving as much as I could. They didn't lock me up. They published it, paid me.
Illuminati, deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin. Illuminati in the rivers and the seas they.
Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Here comes
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, misfits, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, misfits, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Brap, brap. Big up yourselves. Happy Sunday, Secret Society of Good Guys. As always, we are your good guys, so make sure you hit the like and subscribe everywhere. To the hardcores who are finding us on X or Rumble lately, we really appreciate you. And to any of the hidden talent that hangs out on the Secret Society of Good Guys YouTube channel, you are hardcores. But all the coolest kids do hang out in the Project Chaney chat. So if you're lonely out there and want to hang out with some smart people instead of just us broads on the screen, you might want to go over to Project Chaney on YouTube and hang out with them. And tonight we are being joined. We are sans Layla. She's a little tired tonight and she's been really busy with her restaurant and everything and didn't get to nap like she was supposed to. But don't be sad, everyone. We are joined by wife of Revenge of the Sis, Royce. Marie, welcome to the Secret Society of Good Girls.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. I feel so out of shape with both of you here.
I had to expose my shoulders too because hers are showing.
You're show them off.
May as well, right?
I was thinking, I was like, Abbie's definitely going to be bringing her guns tonight if we have a reason to have her guns out.
May as well. Buff chicks, right?
Always
Buff chicks in the house.
Yeah, if it's just Layla and I, Abbie's in her PJs. But when you're on, she's like, "Oh, hey."
No, I'm still in my PJs.
Let me
Want me to
reach
stand up
over and see what time it is? You're still in your PJs. Okay.
There it is. There it
Yep,
is.
and they're rude off. So
I was
Oh.
literally try hauling shirts that came in that we ordered. I don't know. It was probably drunk or some late night got marketed those t-shirts that are just saying funny shit. And we're always suckers for it. So I'm actually wearing a yeehaw, bitches.
Oh,
I love that.
Because at that point in time, we're like, that's the best shirt I've ever seen, and I need that in my life every time.
I love it. I love it. So we are you can obviously talk about whatever you want to tonight. There really is nothing off the table. So if there's anything that's your favorite topics or something that you're like, I have the weirdest theory, this is the place to talk about it. But I'm also going to ask you questions just randomly, like this is like, it seems to be the conspiracy theorist, like first question of getting to know you. What was your like wake up moment to the, like, maybe Barbara Walters or The View isn't telling us the truth? Like, what's your, like, maybe the TV's lying moment?
God, I don't even know. I always had an open mind. It was never like I was a conspiracy theorist, but I'm open to hearing a lot of things. And I think most kids go through the whole magic bullet JFK area first. That's where I'm like, this doesn't add up. Obviously, somebody's lying to me. But at the same time, I always hated that the semester would end in school as you were getting to that part, and then it just cuts off, and you just never get past that part of the textbook.
That is so true.
And
Abbie's
so
your
you have to learn
teacher.
all of that on your own afterwards.
Yeah.
I do have to shout out to Mayo Riot. Marie is a
Ooh.
plain funking macaroni king nut.
King Tut.
King
So
Tut, sorry.
that is definitely a Revenge of the Sis fan.
I always have to go with nuts. You guys know me.
Sans nuts.
That's awesome. You know what? I'm so glad because I was like, why do they keep calling you macaroni in this chat?
So this is just the latest like craze as of, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. On Revenge of the Sis, my husband has been torturing his coworker with the Steve Martin King Tut song because he said it wasn't funny. And he didn't get it. So my husband just keeps playing it on repeat. So now they're calling me a funky macaroni because they're referencing the song. But I karaoke'd it at the bar where we were all hanging out last week. It's on my Twitter account. But yeah, they didn't know it was coming. I asked the karaoke guy, I'm like, do you have Steve Martin King Tut on karaoke? Because I can do this shit right now, and they wouldn't even see it coming.
I saw that, and just now when you're telling me about it, am I putting it together in my brain?
Okay, I saw it too. Now it makes sense.
And I was just like, well, I thought I knew it was an inside joke between you guys. It must be. And I was just like, huh, I never would have, like, in a million years, this is not my karaoke song.
No. Definitely was a game of torture.
So Royce was surprised that you did it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, not only that, the dudes at the bar, when we were all just kind of chilling in between songs, they were like, oh, bro, wouldn't it be funny if, one of us did King Tut, just for the show or whatever. But they all just kind of laughed it off and the conversation moved on. And I was like, I could do it. I'm going to do it. And I lied to them and I said I was doing another song until I wound up and I was like, do you have it? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm so sorry you're about to hear this.
Are you an avid karaokeer?
Yeah, we have one really close to the house. So after all the COVID lockdowns ended and we could go outside again, we spent a lot of time there. So because when we were stuck in our house, all we did was watch YouTube videos of going out and partying to pretend like we were going out and partying to not lose our minds. So we just learned how to sing along to a lot of stuff. So kind of just came about as a new hobby.
I'm an avid spontaneous singer. I'm not necessarily a karaokeer, but I am a person that, like, if I go to a wedding, I'm dancing every song. You'll be like, I never even seen that side of Chaney before. That's called Chaney at a wedding. Like, if it's Chaney at a karaoke bar, that's a different character. It's like, I know how to lean into that character too. And I'm like, let's fucking go. We're going to karaoke tonight. But it's not my typical. Like,
you know how to have a good time in any scenario.
I try to, and even if they're not scenarios I'm supposed to be having a good time in, I'm like, there is a LARP here that I can lean into.
Oh, anything can be funny if you think about it the right way.
I feel like Abbie and I would get in trouble at a funeral.
Probably.
Oh my God. Yes, we would. Because you know what? You know what I would start singing? Because it always gets into my head. Every funeral I'm at, even my mom's funeral, is the Worms Crawl In song. Do you know which song I'm talking about?
No.
You're gonna have to start singing it.
Oh my gosh. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle in your snout. But it's like, because it starts with,
can you sing more?
It starts with whene'er you see a hearse go by, remember you'll be the next to die. And so, like, every time I sing a hearse, that goes into my head. So you always hear a hearse at a funeral. So it starts there. And then you start thinking about bodies decomposing and like worms crawling in the bodies. And so then that's like that song gets stuck in my head. My mom used to sing it to me when I was a kid. She used to sing morbid songs to me all the time. And so now
I feel like you're diving into something important here.
I know, you're about to have a couch moment.
So then I start feeling guilty because I'm singing this song. And then
a song about worms.
About the body decomposing and everybody, like everybody's there to mourn their loved one, and I'm sitting there like thinking about the body decomposing because I'm.
Do you guys remember those songs when we were kids? How they're, we little girls, it must have been some kind of spell, and this must be a whole different thing. Like, little boys must not even know about this whole side of little girl life. How many times do we sit across from a female counterpart and slap hands and say these little weird jingles, Miss Mary Mac and great big gobs of greasy, grimy gopher guts, mutilated
from Alabama.
Yeah, or like aggravation, rehabilitation, aggravation. This is how.
And the jump rope chants too. Did you guys do the jump rope chants?
Yes, or Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black. But even jump rope, like double Dutch jump rope, that is a spell.
Did you guys actually double Dutch? I was always too afraid I was gonna.
I could never do it. I could just
Dutch.
regular.
I
could twist the ropes.
I'm like, I can double Dutch. Bitch has not touched jump ropes in 35 years. Like, I'm just gonna be like, you guys start. Here I go. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in.
One of these days.
Sometime.
I know it would
Maybe.
be fun though if we brought back like grown ass woman double dutch squads.
It probably exists. I bet you it exists.
I know, like right with the kickball teams. You know
Yeah.
how they have grown people kickball teams. We were like, hey, you guys want a double dutch?
Roller derby, you know?
I would
sounds fun.
roller derby.
I would too. I think it would be so fun.
Yeah,
And
that sounds like a good time. One, you're on wheels. There's probably good music. You can check
Yeah.
someone if you wanted to.
Do you
can
think
dress
Elliot
cute, punk
Page
rock.
ruined roller derby? Trans always want to take over our sports. Just did you watch that roller derby movie with
No,
Ellen
I don't
Page?
think that movie was
Like
popular enough for people to start hating on it.
It actually, I'm a huge Juliette Lewis fan, and she's in that movie. Drew Barrymore's in that movie.
Yeah.
Like it has this from the time we grew up, all the like kind of punk rock gothy girls. It sucks to say that now about Drew Barrymore that she's turned into the next Oprah, but there was a time that she was like alternative cool, and yeah, so
The
that
Charlie's
movie,
Angels version of her.
yeah, it was like that little roller derby movie, whatever it was
Poison
called, with
Ivy.
Ellen Page,
Mhm.
dead named Ellen Page, but it was her in that. So it's not a dead
It's hard.
name.
It's hard to like. How do you talk about the past?
Sometimes I look at her as a young girl and I'm like, was she always a little dude? And we're all being convinced here.
I don't even know, man.
I don't know. Her topless photo, I don't think she was ever a dude.
I think
This
she
is
was
just weird.
unhappy. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. It's crazy. Tiny little dude too. Tiny little guy. That little jet. He's taller. He's smaller than Abbie. Abbie's like Bill. You met in person.
Yeah.
Like Elliot Page has got to be smaller. I don't know. We don't have to
think
talk
so.
about Elliot Page.
Nah.
Anyways, so roller derby and that jazz. Do you have any like Hollywood geeky things that you're addicted to?
Well, I used to podcast before COVID with Royce, and my Twitter handle is called H Juice Marie. It was short for Hippo Juice. I ran out of characters and I just went with it. But our original thing was film and trying to do sketch comedy, and we followed Comic Cons and we've been to all sorts of comic conventions in our earlier years. So yeah, I nerd out. But I never got into anything to a point where it was an obsession. I just kind of stayed in the universe of comic books, and that's about it.
I love that.
Entertainment.
We're gonna have to get Thomas to get you your own card then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Card of
your own
trading card.
Your own trading card. Did you
Oh,
guys see those? Because the cis one's super cool. How they look
you
like
mean
the
this
Legion.
one?
Yes. Yeah, you're gonna have to get your own. We're gonna have to have Thomas do that for you, and you're gonna have to be like a secret character in some of the packs
All right.
that no one knows about unless they know.
I'm
But
down.
yeah, I am so geeked out on one of the reasons that I even found Royce or Sis is because I would watch all these MMA podcasts, and of the MMA podcasts, some of them hit into like the zeitgeist where they hit pop culture, where you start seeing like Theo Vaughn and some of these comedian crossover, because one of Joe Rogan's best friend was Brennan Schaub, so we always saw. And then they were like the first show that was also saying all the stuff you weren't allowed. But then there became a whole bunch of shows after it that they did commentary on podcasts where they just talk shit. They were like, look at what Joe Rogan's up to today, and talk shit about it. Like it was a news, like they were talking about what the news would do, which is what the podcast is doing, talking about what the TV's up to. So I always felt like Revenge of the Cis was the first podcast that was doing it. And of that, I mean, maybe they were the same time, but it seemed like Red Bar came after, and Beige Frequency came after, and like all these other type of shows that just did commentary on shows. But I just felt like it was one part of the Cis that they did so well, and I just thought it was so funny because nobody watched Fighter and the Kid, but they did, and they knew about it, and it just cracked me up. It was like this niche on niche humor, and that is funny when you can make people laugh about shit they've never seen.
Absolutely. I would say I had such a hard time because I do have a day job. One of the reasons why I backed out, and so of the whole podcasting thing. And so when I did take a step back, it was so hard to keep up with what they were talking about for a certain amount of time because it felt like there were so many shows that were all doing something very similar and blew up all at the same time. And then it became everyone's talking about everyone, and the circle kind of felt big at first, but it got smaller and smaller and smaller. And now I feel like everybody kind of knows what everybody else is doing because we're all paying attention to the other shows. And the conversation happens outside on YouTube or on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. All those stations, they just kind of crossed over and found their niche, but we all still know what's going on and reporting back. It's weird and hilarious how it's evolved over time.
Have you guys, you said Comic-Con and stuff, and you guys were at the Bohemian Grove. Have you done any conspiracy conventions other than that?
No, that was our first one.
That's
We've done a lot of different stuff. And so we're like, yeah, we're down for that. Yeah, like I said, we started out in comics. We've done the Star Wars thing because we're out in Orlando and they have the Celebration conventions. It's very similar to comic books, but it's only Star Wars related. We've attended those. FX cons. We've attended even the sex one down in South Florida because we knew someone.
Fantasy Fest?
It's part of it. It was Exotica was what it was called.
Exotica, okay. Yeah.
Well, like if there's a convention, we've been to one, just seeing what it was about. So
I like that. I'm all about
awesome.
conventions. Do you ever do any of that, Abbie?
Conventions? Oh my gosh, no, because I just don't have a tribe of people in real life that like to do that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Now that I'm going to be single and have my own life, I might do a lot of stuff that I never did before. So we'll see.
Isn't bodybuilding kind of like conventions?
Yeah, that's a convention. We actually have Orlando has a big one here.
I go to a lot of shows. Yeah, I go to a lot of bodybuilding shows, or I'll go to like posing conventions. Yeah, so I do that. But
it's kind of like it. I hadn't been to a Comic-Con for years and years and years and years until I went with Thomas to do one, and it has changed. Like when I was going decades ago, it seems like now, it was like everybody tried to dress up and it was like kind of comic booky and there was the occasional anime and stuff like that. Now it feels like a rave mixed with a furry convention, mixed with a Comic-Con, mixed with like, hey, I can be a grown man and walk around in a diaper. This is fantastic. Like it just is like this crazy realm of it used to have this innocence about it. Now I feel like there's this sexual undertone with everything.
Oh, so, okay. Funny that you say this. This project never saw the light of day because we have friends that are lazy. But the reason why we were going to comic conventions at the time was we were doing a lot of footage where we were trying to make a documentary about the people that go to comic conventions. We were friends with somebody that was in the film area and he promised us he would do all this editing and he never did the editing. So it's sitting on some probably VHS tape or something all the way back in his South Florida apartment. But we would follow a lot of these guys and the amount of sex that was having at any point in time, because everyone was coming in and they're all nerds and they can't get laid outside of that, right? But when they're there, if you have a good suit, if you have a good costume, you're a god and you become you're a rock star. And they like, there was one kid to this day, Royce and I will joke about saying something's over 9,000 because I remember this kid claiming that he had sex with, oh God, I think he said like 900 people in a year. And we spent so much time trying to calculate how that was possible.
Like 2.2 people a day. This guy in his Chewbacca outfit?
Like at least 2 a days, maybe 3. Like, how are you pumping these numbers out, my guy?
When we were at the Comic-Con, Thomas's girl, and she's so awesome, and she's like into the characters and appreciates how much time people spend getting ready and stuff. And there was she's a really big Star Wars nerd, and so there was like a stormtrooper walking around with a legit Chewie, like it had the stilts on and everything. And she's like, oh my God, I want to go and take a picture with them. And I'm like, come on. Like, and she's like, I don't want to bother him. Legit. That is why they're here. They spend the whole rest of their year just tossing burgers, dropping off food, taking care of people's insurance. And today they get to be their favorite LARP. And it isn't validated unless you go up to them and ask for this picture. So it is more about you than them. or them than you. Like you have to ask. Like I'll ask. You don't even have to be embarrassed about it. I'll be like, I need to get a picture of my friend with you.
Oh
But it
yeah.
was kind of cute. Like even when she was standing by them to get the picture, Chewy was like, whatever the like Chewy sound. And she was so happy. Like I got the picture of how happy she was with the sound. It
That's
was like a
awesome.
little kid. Yeah, it was like this is real excitement, not like kids putting their child on Santa Claus in the horrific, frantic fear.
I do love all the awkward family photos on Santa's lap when the kids are screaming and crying. I don't have kids, so I laugh.
Well, no, I took my kids one time and they refused. So I was like, all right, I never did that again. I'm not standing in line that long. And now it's like, it's $50 for a picture of Santa.
That's
insane.
highway robbery. That's
Are
a
you
that's
kidding?
conspiracy right there.
No, we
Why
went to the mall
Santa
the other
charge you
day.
$50?
It was $50.
No, that's insane. Why don't you just snap it with your iPhone? And then run away or like really fast. Like have somebody behind, like sit on them before they can charge you. Just like snap it and run.
Shout out
That's
to
what I
Revenge
do.
of the Sis and Royce. And why is Marie in the studio and not in the kitchen? Are you going to be barefoot when you get in the kitchen?
I usually am, but no, actually, he does all the cooking.
I was gonna say, do you guys
Oh.
meal prep?
No, we just have a shit ton of meat and we're constantly eating protein and talking about how much protein we could be eating.
I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Our lives are protein. Did you have enough protein today?
That's funny.
That is really Abbie is always telling, like, you think you know what to eat. And I didn't realize, and like I always say like, oh my gosh, when she explained Ozempic to me, I was like, that's exactly what happened to me with cancer. She's like, no one wants to do Ozempic. They think they're losing weight. Explain it real quick, Abbie.
Because they think that they're losing body fat, because everybody equates the number on the scale to losing body fat. But they're like, oh my gosh, if I just lost 10 pounds, if I just lost 20 pounds. And it's usually the way that they're losing it is by starving themselves and putting their body in a calorie deficit, but they're doing it by they're making the body catabolic. So catabolic means that their body has to, because your body runs on carbs unless you've been ketogenic for years. So your primary fuel is carbohydrate. So if you're not eating carbohydrates or you're like just starving yourself, your body will burn protein, because protein turns into carbohydrate. So protein is muscle. It'll burn its muscle before it'll burn its fat, because it stores fat for use later. So you're actually compounding the problem. You're getting rid of your muscle, which helps you to burn fat while you sleep, while you breathe, while you do nothing. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, just doing your regular stuff. And Ozempic it takes away your hunger. So if it takes away your hunger, you're not eating. So you're actually just becoming catabolic, and we want to be anabolic.
And so like even when I'm gaining weight again and I'm like eating whatever, Abbie every day, are you getting enough protein though?
Yes.
Make sure you're getting protein.
You can't just
protein,
eat donuts
protein.
back to your
Yeah.
full weight. You have
Your
to eat
muscles
right.
need the protein. And I didn't even realize like how even somebody who, when you think you eat protein, you're really not eating enough protein.
Yeah.
Like probably most people aren't.
No, because you should be eating at least 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight that you are. So between that and 1.2 grams. So if you're, we'll just say 1. So if you're 160 pounds, you should be eating 160 grams of protein a day, period, just to maintain the muscle that you already have.
Is that the math? That's easy math.
Yeah, it's easy math. But like, so sometimes I eat 1 gram. I've had coaches that put me up to 1.2 grams. And then my coach right now, since I'm in a deficit, has me at 0.8. But yeah. So essentially you should be eating enough, like 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight that you have.
Right. So we should be talking about how you get more protein in your diet, like tips and tricks for that. Like
Everybody acts like it's so hard.
Yeah,
Huh?
like as long as people, people should be honest about, math and finances and stuff like that, but also how much protein you're getting.
Yeah.
It's
It's
true.
like, I think before I started tracking, I would get maybe like 30 grams of protein a day. That's so insane. And I think that's probably pretty average, because most people are eating carbs and fat.
Mm-hmm. We
It's
started sticking extra egg whites into the eggs. Like you make like little tricks, like how do I get more of it into
Yeah.
the diet?
Do you think part of that, because we always talk about like the conspiracy of the food pyramid and how much like big sugar came in and how much like the cheese, like the dairy, like lobbyists became this whole big thing. Do you think like the food pyramid was pretty much just built on this lobbyist, and then all the science for the last 50 years has just been done on this food pyramid? So it's all the things, like all the time we're talking about, like the micronutrients, salt, butter, real fat. Like most people aren't getting enough real fat in their life. Like the whole vegan conspiracy, like how that just took a wave over, like a Bill Gates, like you can't produce meat in the lab unless you get everybody convinced. And of course it's cheaper if we can just feed this beaker than feed a cow. This is amazing. They'll fall for it. Like even these kind of ideas, it makes me wonder about uh our gut biome, our health, our mental health, and then the deterioration breakdown of our bodies and cancer. Everything is all based on this fucking food pyramid lie.
Oh,
Yeah, because the way that you eat for building muscle, like for bodybuilders and anybody who's like in the gym, is you track your macronutrients, and that's the three macronutrients are protein, carbohydrate, and fat. And they each have a separate purpose. Like that's why when people are like, "Oh, I'm doing no carbs." Well, carbs are your fuel. So they're actually not bad for you if you eat them in moderation and you're choosing the right carbs, like nutrient dense carbs, like rice. And I don't eat brown rice, I eat white rice. Um, Oats, these are things that are actually okay for your body and they can process it pretty easily. Like, and it fills you up and it gives you energy. But fat is important too. Like when people go completely no fat, fat balances your hormones. So if you don't have enough fat, then your hormones are going to be jacked up. So you do have to have, I mean, fat shouldn't be as high as what a lot of people eat, but if they're going completely non-fat, I mean, you're going to screw your thyroid, you're going to screw, because it's all related. All your hormonal systems are related.
yeah,
So,
we were doing keto for like 2 years to kickstart our weight loss journey because we lost weight together. We gained it during COVID when you couldn't go out and all we did was drink
mhm.
wine on the weekends. Ballooned up, so we decided we were gonna do a keto diet to help start the weight loss, but after a while, we've transitioned into macro counting now too. And you're right, when you log the food and it's like you're trying to balance out this percentage of, a pie chart of fats, proteins, and carbs. If you start going like too much on fats, you lose room on the other things, and
Yeah.
you're just trying to balance out your wheel so that way you're having a good equilibrium. It is hard because then you start making food choices differently when you look at it as a mathematical number in an app versus trying to decide in your pantry, like, what am I going to eat today? And you're like, you know what? I'm still lacking on grams of protein. Let me put away these chips and try to get a chicken breast in before the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, so like I eat 5 meals a day, 5 or 6. It just depends on where I'm at. But I don't know, how many times a day do you eat?
Honestly, I hate breakfast, so I kinda just make coffee with cream my breakfast, so it's bad, like, twice. I'll eat lunch, and then I eat dinner. Maybe I'll have a snack, but that's it.
I do. I eat 5 times a day, so that's how I get my protein in. Because like my first meal, I eat with a protein shake. I blend up oatmeal, protein shake, or like protein, and then peanut butter, and then sometimes fruit, depending on my, like right now I'm cutting, so I don't get fruit in it. And then my second and third meal, I eat with chicken and rice, chicken and green beans, and then and olive oil. And then my fourth meal is a huge bowl of cereal, pineapple, and another protein shake. And then my fifth meal is ground beef with green beans and olive oils and peanut butter. So it's like that's all the protein I need for the day. But it's not huge portions of chicken. It's not so it's broken up into smaller portions, so it's easier to eat. So every 2 to 3 hours, it's
You know how there was like a huge wave of like Ozempic did something to fertility too. It was making like birth control not work. And
yeah,
so it
Yeah.
was also making like fertility skyrocket. So all these ladies that they were like trying to lose weight and then they got knocked, and then we don't even know the outcome on the children or the children's children, since all the eggs are in utero of the grandmother to begin with. And it was making me like connect the story of there is all those wolf kids being born because the father of the kids took balding medication. And so the kids are being born with that werewolf syndrome where they're all hairy. Have you guys seen this?
No.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, I'm gonna pull it up. But
Yeah, let's see this. This
You
is
lost me at
interesting.
like werewolf kid. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I know there's probably one in Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, but
Yeah.
no, and probably
now?
that now when you probably go back to it, probably that was also a wacky vacky injury, but we're not allowed to talk about these things. I just think most of any of the issues are because they were like, here's some smallpox blankets in some kind of form. Let's see, werewolf syndrome. I'm not on my normal search engine. Hairy werewolf tots are on the rise. Okay.
Hairy werewolf
Look at
tots.
all, I
Wow.
always tell everybody how stupid my search is, and all I put in was werewolf children. And then I press news to see what comes up because I'm like, I don't dig deep. I know you guys can find this. Okay.
Google just makes it so easy.
So see this?
Oh no. Oh
And
no.
it says a baldness cure may be turning folk into werewolves, health chiefs say. Almost a dozen cases of babies with werewolf syndrome have been reported across Europe in the past year. Officials believe the newborns have been left blanketed with hair after their parents use over-the-counter baldness remedy minoxidil or something. It is commonly applied to the scalp to encourage hair growth. So, what is this picture underneath?
I think we have to invent a new dating app for when these kids become of age and need to find other werewolf children to date.
It'll be furries. They'll be just the real ones.
They'll just be really popular at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Right?
They'll be Chewy. Like
I'm
somebody will
telling
be like,
you.
"Can I go get a picture with him, please?" And all
As
they have to do
a
is learn how to do the Chewy good.
and I'm a tech at school or at a school district, and I see all the kids' searches, and so many kids search furries. So they're already getting this little fetish.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Do they know what they're trying to search for?
Yes, they know what they're trying to search.
Oh,
Yes, they
God.
absolutely do.
Oh, that's not a road you want to go down.
It's not. But it's I don't know. It's like they start with anime and then it goes to furries, and then that's where we learned about vor.
See, one of the things on the show, I'll fill you in, Marie, is that Abbie in her school district, she's in charge of all the technical computer stuff. And one of the jobs is she has to go through and she is the filter to the school board. If the teachers write and say, hey, they're looking up anal blank, she has to make sure they can't look it up anymore. So sometimes because she wants them to still be able to look up things, she has to look it up to see, because it's not sexual. Sometimes they're just looking up stuff that parents don't know about yet, like different dance crazes or fun toys. She doesn't know. So she has to look it up. So one of the things was vor. And what's vor, Abbie?
It shocked the heck out of me because they're looking up specific vor too. So they're like Bart Simpson vor or Homer Simpson vor or like just stuff like that. And I'm like, what the heck is this word? So like I'd seen it a couple times come through red flagged, and I had to get off the school Wi-Fi so I could look it up because I'll get flagged and it'll get blocked. But vor is like where it's like a sexual fetish where you have someone inside your belly.
Oh.
Like you eat them inside or eat them or something. Like it's almost like cannibalism, I think, but I don't know. Maybe cannibalism isn't necessary, but they're in your belly.
But because we're conspiracy theorists and we had to look it up, like that's where she stopped. She looked it up and she's like, okay, we're done here.
Yeah.
She's like, they don't need to know. But she tells us, and then Thomas, we're going to research it, like Manly P. Hall wrote about it. And so it's being consumed whole and feeling inside someone. It's like an actual.
And are you wanting to be the person that's in somebody else, or do you just want to watch somebody do it and like eat a person?
There might be both, but it's usually like
maybe like top or bottom,
like how a snake would eat, like a snake would eat a rat, and you'd see it go down its whole body. Yeah. It's that kind of fetish, like being that kind of inside someone.
You know, losing a world war really fucks up a brain of a population, you know?
I know. I'm like, is this the jibby jabby, or is this like what happens when you think of like, okay, if grandparents and things happen in the egg and we're here, what happened in the 80s? Like what what did they do to the grandmas in the 80s that were here? I
All
don't
the
know.
anime stuff that's been coming out and the creepiness of that culture. So in Epcot, in the because I live in Orlando, I'm in Disney a lot, and we go to Epcot and we walk around the world, and we love stopping in Japan. And there's this little art museum that's towards the back end of the gift shop, and it's just like homage to anime and anime culture, but it's this private little space that we usually loved to run into when it was hot and needed a place to sit down and cool off. But we started to look around at how weird it was and just realized like we did this. Like when we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima and like a culture just got their whole entire like island decimated and they had to rebuild. This is what they rebuilt. This weird cutesy hee culture of like sex organs and just weird tentacle porn and just the weirdest shit ever, man. And I'm like, we did this for them. I'm so sorry. And so now we walk in there and we pay tribute. We pay tribute every time we're there. We're like, I'm so sorry.
That's really sweet of you guys.
It's almost not even like real porn, some of it. Like one time I had a guy friend in college and he's like, I have to show you this porn. And I'm like, homie, we're not watching porn together. And he's like, no, it's not like that. I just have to show you. It's this Japanese porn and it's just so wild. Like it stopped me and it sent me into a psychological bender more than made me horny. I have to show it to you. I was like, okay. And it was like, and we made up words for what it said. Because they were just screaming at each other. So it was like these naked Asian men around a table, and all of a sudden they're like and we imagined them saying, bring in the women. And then all these girls come in, but they were all dressed like food, like candy and colors, like it was just very like Willy Wonka, and they were like and like going around, and then they were all like, and they started to yell things, ba 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 ba, me, and then we imagined them saying, only because we imagined the girl saying, bring in the tampon, and then an enormous tampon came down from the roof. Like in a huge, like it was an Elon Musk SpaceX rocket, dropped down from the roof of cotton, and then all the ladies and men started tearing it apart and playing with it like it was a Miami foam party.
That's normal.
No sex was in it. It was like really a Japanese porn. And I've thought about it for years since he showed it to me. Like every once in a while, I just am like, what is that?
What did this do to my brain even?
Yeah, like
what sensation am I supposed to feel by watching this?
I have already a weird for like, you have those like people with the nails on the chalkboard. The wooden popsicle sticks from ice cream when we were kids, or like the schoolroom. Putting those in my mouth, like even the thought of it, or like
You don't
doctor
like the squeakiness as it like goes through your teeth?
Or the doctor putting a tongue compressor on my tongue, like something. So there's something about that porn. It's like chewing cotton, or I don't know. It's like, what? It did anyways. It's Russian, it's Japanese dream hacking, Abbie, what that porn did to me.
Yeah.
I never seen Two Girls, One Cup. I just had the mental. I've never seen
I've
it.
never Googled it. I
never have.
People
Mr.
described
Hands,
it to me, and I was like,
never have.
Good. I don't need to see
I will
that.
never need to see that.
But bringing the tampon takes up space. And I don't even know what they said. They could have been like sometimes the words are like, we just made up bringing the girls and bringing the tampon. Like, who knows what they said? Like,
Maybe
it could have
they
been
were
a tampon
quality
over.
assurance people from Tampax, and they were like, this one's no good.
It was just a Tampax commercial in Japan. This motherfucker had me convinced it was a porn.
It probably was just a commercial.
Totally.
The tampon is inferior to our tampon.
Yeah.
It's so absorbent and soft.
They were probably all representative of blood somehow, and like, yay, look at, we all fit in the tampon. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm sorry I did that to you guys. It was like I bored you with that.
No, that's
Sorry
okay.
to bore you with
That
that.
wasn't like 2 girls, 1 cup type thing. That's a whole other.
I
I
feel like
didn't.
you needed to process it, so I'm glad that we helped you.
I got it out. I don't know if I've ever. It's only come up in drunk conversation before. I'm glad it's like out there.
Just the other day, we were walking around in public, and I saw what looked to be an adult-ish kid. I'm probably guessing 17, 18, like on the cusp of being a senior, with his mom and dad standing on next to him. I could see they were like close-knit family, and he was wearing a shirt that was obviously talking about tentacle porn. Like I could read it from across the way. I'm like, that's a tentacle porn. Does his parents know that they're walking with their son wearing a tentacle porn shirt on right now? Don't even care anymore. It's just normal.
Tentacle
Tentacle
porn.
porn. I know. I'm like, okay, I'm writing this down because I'm gonna look this up later.
Oh, the octopus that comes up at you from like all sides, engulfs you. Yeah, tentacle porn.
It's almost
Wow.
like tentacle porn's very close to vor. There's something about it that feels like
Going
they're
from underneath and from above. It's a bottom up instead of a top down. But
yeah, it feels somehow like if you're wrapped in tentacles or get tentacles inserted, one of the other are happening.
there's 8 of them.
Yeah, it seems like
It's all
both.
inside you.
Yeah, it seems like vory. Like if either you're the vor or vory. I don't know. Do you think things like Mr. Cup or Mr. Hands and 2 Girls 1 Cup like are just the same as like Bernie Mittens or a Tiger King where they're purposefully put on the zeitgeist so we all go look them up? Like Pamela
Hawktua.
Anderson's sex tape, Hawktua,
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian's sex tape. Do you think it's just good publicity?
I think it attracts the publicity. I don't think 2 Girls 1 Cup knew they were going to be 2 Girls 1 Cup until it became 2 Girls. Like you weren't like, oh, this is going to be it. Everyone's going to talk about this for the rest of eternity. No, you're just like, well, that was a ridiculous video. I guess throw it on the internet. That's brand new. Deal with that one. And then we're all like, I can't believe they did that.
What happened to the 2 girls, 1 cup girls? Does anybody know? Because you would think that would be something where you live in infamy and you can't have a regular life afterwards.
This is a great Thomas, or somebody timestamp this for Thomas. This is a great for us to where are they now? Certain key, like, because some of them might be porn figures, but that would be like a side quest for our Wednesday night show. So somebody timestamp this.
Maybe that was like the most they ever did, but maybe they went even harder even after that one. But that's just the one we all remember. I never followed their career path.
Wouldn't it suck if you were that CIA agent? Like somebody gets to be Julia Roberts and you have me and you for our assignment and we're like, what? Like, it's almost like you're asking a lot. Like, you're asking a lot from me today, CIA.
I can't do that.
I don't know. I feel like you would have more street cred for being the agent that discovered 2 Girls 1 Cup as opposed to the agent that just has to cover Julia Roberts. She seems boring.
Yeah, like hey, it's 2 Girls 1 Cup.
Yeah, like that guy is like, as we're now saying, a regular cock star. Walking around the office like, yeah, what's up? I found that one.
They're both like that one. I don't know. It's right hand in hand. And I always give Joe Rogan. He always is such like a zeitgeist creator of these certain type things. The Mr. Hands thing, so disturbing. I never needed to see it. The whole idea, the people watching it made me so disturbed. You guys don't look it up, but it is this guy who I'm guessing him and his buddy must have done this enough that they were filming it this time, or I don't know if he was filming himself, but he pretty much lets a horse penetrate him, but it kills him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's Mr. Hands, you said?
Mr. Hand or Hands? I don't know.
I actually went through a moment where I was like, I kind of want to look that up, but then I was like, no, I don't think I need to look that one up. I think I actually had that moment where like, I think I'm better off.
Yeah, I never did, but
that's a big motherfucking cock to have in your ass.
I don't think I want to see someone die from that.
Joe Rogan talking about it in detail, like it disturbs me. Like I don't even want to repeat the exact words so you guys don't have to be like stamped with like, the
Well, good news
visual
for
of
you, I forget a lot of shit, so
it. But I know, go look up, go look up the Joe Rogan
no,
episode. You can
I think I actually remember him talking about it now that you're describing. I'm like, I think that's how I was aware of it and why I didn't look it up in the first place.
Yeah, I think it's like something about it, like probably in your brain where you're like, let me look that up. Right next to it was the exact words he says that causes the visual of like, I never want to look that up. It just is like horrible. Yeah. I don't know. I don't believe anything. I think to like permeate the entire zeitgeist is such a rarity. Like it's hard for me to believe Haktua was real.
It's weird how fast her rise and fall was. Did you see her announcement after being quiet after the rug pull? She's like, I'm in full cooperation with, the everyone involved, and we're gonna get to the bottom of who did this. And if you have any information or lost money, contact this lawyer or whatever. And I was like, oh, you are just so in over your head, little girl.
That's what, we were wondering if like you make her big enough to do this kind of thing. So then they have to come in and put a whole bunch of regulations on crypto. But in another facet, like she's all connected with the Paul brothers, Jake and whatever the other Logan. And Logan's about to fight.
I bet he's going to feel real good about that.
Well,
Jake is the other one.
I think you do this. We plan the entire thing, the entire story, the entire rug pool. We do, and we release both coins. So we have Hawk and Tua are both our coins, and one of them seems like the competing coin, but it's the WWE. If we control both the characters, then it's like, oh, this is awesome. If one
House
side's always
wins.
talking, yeah, like I can always keep your name in the press. And so they say no publicity is bad publicity. That seems to be how all these coins work. It's like a metaverse thing. Like however much stock your name. I don't know if you guys know. There used to be like a stock market in Hollywood where all the celebrities were on them. And you could kind of invest in them of what movies they would take and what, different production companies, or if they were signed up with different studios or got different contracts and their star would rise, or if they got married or if they released a new album. And so it was kind of like that same kind of idea in a way, is like you're just investing on what you think the world's going to be talking about tomorrow. It's so weird if you think about it.
I was unaware of the Hollywood thing, but I was tracking what you're saying, and it is weird how it's going. I actually was trying to listen back to your last episode where you were talking cryptocurrency, because I know nothing, and I mean less than nothing. And I was like, I'm now 0.00001% smarter, but I think I grasped also that much of it. So,
oh my gosh, it's so much to grasp. But I think that on a fast scale that you can watch cryptocurrency where you're almost playing a video game is exactly the same thing as stock market, except it's happening on a board game. And once you realize these graphs and how manipulation and trading and creation and all that, you're like, oh my gosh, as above, so below. This is exactly what's happening with all these shadow corporations and fake bankruptcies, and how BlackRock takes over this, splits it into two, puts all their, it's like, oh my gosh, it's I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's a lesson. It seems like we think, oh, this little kid game down here that we're just playing with crypto coins. This is what they've always been up to. But I
would have to like quit my job, just full time, be reading about this stuff to catch up at this point. That's how I feel. I'm like, who has the time?
That is where I can only pick up little things everywhere in general. I feel like most people are smarter about something than I am, and I have something to gather, and then I just want them to give me a layman's terms. Tell me that again in my language.
Yeah. I've specialized in a very niche area, and I'm going to need you to fill me in on the niche area that you specialized in so I can get the Cliff Notes version, because I don't have time to do what you do.
Yeah, I don't want a master's in that.
No.
And some things I just like, even with like health, I just want to trust Abbie enough that I know that Abbie has my best interest at heart. If Abbie was driving me, she would eat better or drink more water or exercise more. She would take better care of this than I'm taking care of it. So I just sometimes want to trust. You don't have to explain those numbers to me about protein, Abbie. Just tell me what to eat. Like, and
That's
that's how I feel sometimes about certain things. Like, I don't want to learn about this. You do it. I trust you.
I was telling my daughter some conspiracy last night, and she's like, "Oh, how do you know that?" I was like, "'Cause Chaney, I didn't do the research. I'm not gonna look it up. I trust Chaney. I know she did the research, so I have no reason to question it."
And some
But
things I try to be like, okay, I research this like crazy. And some things I try to be like, okay, you guys, I'm gonna tell you from left field. Britney Spears is the Da Vinci Code. Like, or you guys,
Can
I
you
don't believe.
actually, sorry, because I'm new.
Yeah, no
Dive
worries.
into the whole Britney Spears thing. I've noticed that she's a recurring in your intro. So
she's
what's up with that?
Britney, somewhere I feel like the conspiracy of Britney Spears is bigger than the conspiracy of JFK. She
Cool.
attaches to more things. She's a Disney kid who then is brought up through the zeitgeist of Hollywood, who then we find out about this conservatorship. Like, it's the first time the world finds out about this, but nobody questions how many other celebrities are kind of under this same kind of rule. Not much. Is the queen, like the sovereign, is she under the same kind of rule? Like, who owns who? And if you're just a property or a person, and then there becomes the whole thing of, is this all CGI? Like, is this all fake? Why are we
You
being
got
shown
Truman
these?
Showed.
Yeah, like, why
Yeah.
are we being shown this loop of her? Why is she saying these crazy things? Like, why is, in the same way of the Tiger King, like, oh, we're all going to look at Britney at the moment, and we have to pay attention to Justin right now. And then right when we all look at Justin, DUI and all this weird stuff comes out about Justin. It's
poppers.
like, yeah, I
You
don't know.
mentioned the Tiger King twice. So you remember the conservatory that they are focusing on the show is outside of Tampa. We actually have a brick donated in that area from way before the show even came out, because where the tigers are raised is like not that far away from my mom and dad's house. So we drove by that cat sanctuary all the time, and eventually finally we went in there one time and we donated enough to like put a stone out for it. So
Nice.
yeah, and then years later I'm like, that's that cat place. It's across from mom and dad's house. Why is it on TV? This is wild. I think my name's in there somewhere.
I
But
think Texas is like that too, but Florida does have a lot of really cool animal sanctuaries. Not that the Tiger King, I'm not, whatever. I've never even seen the Tiger King.
well,
I
again,
just,
it's the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey is out there, and like I'm sure you are aware of like the Circus City.
yes.
Yeah,
Is
that's all
it,
out there.
what is it? Because is that what, that's where, because I know there's the psychics, but we keep talking about it on the show, and I feel like I bring it up and then it's a Mandela effect because Thomas is like, what? Isn't there a midget city in Florida, around there?
I don't know if it's full midget, but there's a lot of them in this. I don't know. It's 100% midget. It might be like 20-30% midget. I don't know, but I think it's the same city. So it's like when
Never
the
go
Ringling
full
Brothers,
midget.
when the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey disbanded, they like all the people that worked the circus had to move somewhere. So they kind of just like had a place where a lot of them were there. So like, they're just working the post office and working, normal day-to-day jobs. I think that I forget the name of the town, but it is a place in Florida. So, and it's not that far away from where we are.
In the
But we
Mr.
drove in.
Hands or Two Girls, One Cup way, I just got an image in my head of Lobster Boy with mail.
Yeah.
Like, I just like
Picking it up with little lobster claws, and here you go.
yeah. And
We're
you're
being
like,
chased
oh,
by the
thanks.
dog.
Yeah, the wolf man's chasing the dogs down the street dressed as the postman.
And now we know that the wolf persons is probably just for people that were doing hair transplants 2 generations ago.
Yeah, they were just rubbing some alopecia on their head, or not alopecia. I don't even know. Alopecia is where you lose your hair. There's some
That's
other
the
kind.
M. Like my head went to maltodextrin, but that's not it. It was like I forget. You said it though. Start with M.
There is another thing about Florida with weird circus stuff. There is this whole Florida, old Florida elephant lore, where the elephants of Florida, like there's been mastodon bones all over Florida found, where it's like with the bones of people, but the guy who discovered them wouldn't donate the bones to the Smithsonian because the Smithsonian wanted to bury the history because it dates back further than the pyramids. They found giant skulls, and Layla's favorite and Thomas's favorite, but Old World Florida does some research or interviews with people down in South Florida about the old Florida elephants and how they like all the way to the mastodons, but also to the Ringling Brothers of what you're saying is like there used to be tons of elephants that would roam South Florida and in the Everglades.
That is not one I've heard. That's a new Florida story. I'm gonna have to look that one up later.
Oh, yeah, it's super. There's a lot of like Florida being Eden things because the only place on the planet that gopher wood grows is in Florida. And so they say the ark is built out of gopher wood, and then all the animals in like in the sketchings of the pyramid are all native to Florida and to the Americas, not to Egypt at all. So it's like the Anubis and the ibis, like the Miami bird, corn, these kind of things,
Corn
or
is
even the gator. Like the people are like, "Oh, this is a crocodile god. Is it a crocodile?"
I mean, it's hard to tell from
Yeah.
sketchings. If you just get the nose a little off, it becomes one or the other.
Have you guys been here a long time?
In Florida?
Yeah.
I moved in '99. Royce is born and raised.
Oh, okay. Then this, I don't know. It blew my mind. Maybe you guys are a little closer to swamps, but I got tons of swamp around me. But this is just in my river, like in the past, like November, this year. There was a crocodile in it.
I've been hearing that that's happening now, and that's wild.
It
I don't know where
blew
they're
my
coming from,
mind.
like, who shipped one over here? Or maybe it was from, one of those failed zoos that they people just animals just
Okay, so there is not crocodiles in Florida too? Because I know Florida, the alligators of it all, but I've always been told that you guys had both.
I didn't think that we had both. I always was alligators for a while, and then all of a sudden we're hearing about crocodiles. I'm like, I thought that was like an Australia and Egypt thing over there that they had. So
Yeah.
I don't know where that started coming from.
Same.
Hmm.
Okay. It could be out of my Mandela effect, but we grew up
No,
with
I've
gators.
I've heard it too, but just like how the pythons are overwhelming the Florida Everglades because people just bought pythons because Britney Spears had one on her shoulder once, and so people thought it was cool, right? So people buy pythons, they grow too big, and then they just release them into the Everglades. So now there's just a huge amount of pythons. There's actually TV shows and comedy shows and stuff about like, killing them and hunting them down and just getting rid of them because they have no natural predators and they just keep getting bigger and bigger.
I
So
think we have it once a year in Florida where it's like a huge python hunt. And if you bring the head, you get like $2,500 a python or something crazy, but you have to bring the head because I guess people were taking really long ones and Floridians gonna hustle. They're like, I could make this 3 pythons. I'm gonna cut this
Absolutely.
thing up.
Yep.
But yeah, it's whatever you bring here, it doesn't matter if it's a plant or an animal, it'll just grow.
What
It is.
what parts of Florida are you guys from? Or are you
She
not
isn't.
I'm in Oklahoma.
from Oklahoma? Okay.
She's in
Yeah.
Okie. I'm in Indian River County.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm right across the state from Tampa,
Yep.
like on Route 60.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Atlantic Seaboard girl,
That's
but
that's a nice part of Florida.
I love it. It's like a little hidden gem. But the Orlando area, that's where Thomas lives.
Yeah.
He lives somewhere around there. He
Orlando's
doesn't disclose it to us because he's a dirty Mason, but somewhere around that area.
it's a cool town, but it's growing too fast for itself.
Are you guys gonna stay in the state?
Yeah. Every time we travel to a different state, we're always excited to go home.
That's exactly how I feel. No matter where I go, or it's like I feel like I searched my entire life to find the perfect sunset, and I disregarded this. I just grew up around it and took it for granted. I drove everywhere. I looked at like clouds, and there's just something about our flat that you can see so much more than you don't have to be at the top of a mountain to see everything. And so it's kind of spectacular. I love it. I need the humidity. I need the salt. My body needs the ocean, but I guess you guys don't have the ocean all the time.
Well, we can go either way.
Drive either way. That is the nice part. You guys can go anywhere.
Yeah.
You
The only
guys-
thing that became a long ass drive is going to Key West now because we used to live in South Florida and that was a very easy drive. And now you're just like, I don't feel like driving or flying that distance. It's too short to fly and too long to drive.
Yeah, my brother flies up sometimes from Key West. He lives down there. Do you think there was some kind of conspiracy when the world shut down of everyone coming here?
I don't think it was a conspiracy. I think it was just the coolest state.
Yeah. You don't think it was? Because I feel like they almost, even beforehand, everything was bigger in Texas for the decade before. Texas got all this kudos, all this thing. Joe Rogan moved to Texas. Elon moved to Texas. And Florida was Florida man. Mockery and look at the hanging Chad, all the things. And then it was just like, and we're going to be this state that we have DeSantis and stand up for the things. And it kind of pushed our housing market into an unaffordable state for Floridians. It made all these people that were in New York living in their high rises and doing whatever, they got to sell their properties for an exorbitant amount, come down here and use a quarter of it and not they were like, "Ooh, we're almost like a tax haven for New Yorkers." And then come down here and then we were like, "Please, that's all we could do was like, don't vote bad. Please don't vote bad.
Yeah.
Please don't fuck us."
Yeah.
But there was so many of them that came here. We were reliant on influx of it was like we had our own immigration crisis happening in Florida during elections when it mattered the most. But I don't know.
We were saying the same thing. I mean, every time I saw an out of state license plate, I was like, get out of my state if you're not voting with the way we're voting. Because like we're unruly and we like it that way. And don't try to change us.
We're unruly.
Yeah.
Like
we're ungovernable. I think that like everyone that was in a different state that was saying this is bullshit realized that Floridians are like, nah, I'm just going to do my thing. You can't really tell me what to do. And I'm just going to keep doing that thing. And so those type of people just got attracted to our behavior and came here. So we just got more of those. So I don't think like, if you look, we actually got a little redder from the 2016 to the 2020 to the 2024 election. Like we got all those people that were living in California thinking California was cool. And they're like, it's not cool anymore. I got to leave. Same with New York's. And we got a lot of, I think we got a lot of Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, like that whole like bucket of the Northeast just kind of came down and
I loved it. I was actually grateful. I remember after I was like, please, the first time around, like, please don't let it turn out bad. Cause I think we had that might've been the election beforehand. Never mind. I won't bring up a whole different where there was the guy in Miami that was like running against DeSantis the first time. And then he was naked in the hotel room.
Oh yeah. We dodged the bullet. That was a close call. We could have had him for a governor. That was nuts.
That was so crazy. But that was a different time. I don't know. I just can't believe we survived all this and we all made it here. And now we're watching like the craziest amp up of what do you think of drones?
Oh my God. I was just reading before this show. I was on Twitter and I saw like a breaking from Roz Alert that Orlando, my Orlando, our Lake Eola downtown area was doing a drone show that's just red and green lights for Christmas. And I guess a couple of them malfunctioned and fell to the ground and one hit a 7-year-old kid and the kid's in the hospital now. And I'm just like, oh my God, that sounds so sad. All they're doing is like going to, look at the Christmas lights and they're like, lo and behold, there's a drone show. And then they sort of dropping on you. Like, that's wild.
That's what you remember the pagers that all exploded?
Yeah.
That's what drone warfare is essentially, except they can follow you.
I mean, they don't even need to be sophisticated. They just need to stop working and fall on your head.
They just need to be like, and power down. Boom.
Yeah.
Especially for the size of cars. Oh my gosh, too. Some of those.
That's a whole new thing that there's drones that are like the size of buses and stuff. That's
horrifying. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really been following everybody that's been freaking out about a drone here and there and I just keep seeing people going like, what are these drones for? What are these drones for? And they're just taking pictures of the sky. Like, what are your guys' theories?
Well, when they are like, oh, when Joe Rogan released the video of the guy saying it's the government trying to smell gas. There are drones looking for something. I'm like, what is this psyop on psyop? Like, I felt like it was like, here we have this psyop that one media is trying to spread. So the old
from an Iranian mothership.
Yeah, like the whole mainstream media is like drones from an Iranian mothership and doing this whole thing and like what is happening, and they're amping it up this way. Then Joe Rogan releases it and he's like, they're ours, like nothing to be worried about. And it's like, what? But I just think it's funny that they're flying over specific places. They all seem like gun-free zones.
I mean, nothing to worry about. Just tell us what it is, and then we won't worry about it. Why are you saying nothing to worry about, guys? No, I've been seeing a lot of it, and I'm like kind of letting it all just kind of fall past my head because I'm like, I feel like everyone is wrong right now, and no one knows what it is except for maybe a few people. I'll just wait for that news to come out, and I again have no time to dig. So I'm like, if you've seen any cool theories, I'm not even paying attention other than it's happening.
Well,
What's
Trump said shoot him down, and then they're saying now you can't shoot him down. That it's legal for them to be there. And then Biden is saying, "Oh no, we know what's going on. You're cool." Like it's so.
Trump said shoot him down?
Yeah, you didn't see that tweet? He
Uh-uh.
literally. I sent it to you and Layla. He said shoot him down.
I'm
Right
gonna be
after our
real.
episode, and I was like, "Are you kidding? If they show up here, we're gonna be like, Okies are gonna be like shooting those motherfuckers down." And
That's
like
what
the
I'm
next
like.
day,
If
he tweeted, "Shoot him down."
Well, okay, but you remember it wasn't even that long ago, a year or two ago, when we just let a blimp from China just scoot on past us.
Yeah.
Like, we're all just like, hey, what's that?
for me, just with drone, let's say it wasn't going to explode. Let's say it wasn't going to shoot at me. Let's say aliens aren't driving it. Even if there's a camera on it and it's hovering outside of my window, I'm creeped the fuck out. I'm
That's
taking
what
that
I'm
drone
saying.
right down.
Do I not own the airspace around my house?
Yeah, I don't think we do.
I don't think we do.
I don't think
We
we
don't own the
own.
I don't
air.
think the laws are keeping up with it yet.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, how can they? It'll take them 25 years to make drone laws.
Yeah. And then there won't even be drones anymore. It'll just be the next thing. Cooler.
Is it weird that they're trying to mix drones with the aliens? Like they didn't get all of Bluebeam set up for us in time, so they're like, let's Iranian mothership 'em.
Mothership. When do they ever say mothership? Like it would be an Iranian ship.
Well, it's the same as that Obama movie. The exact same as that whatever that movie was that with Julia Roberts, oddly enough, whatever that movie was that Netflix put on, like Tiger King, so that we'd all sit around the water cooler and watch it. It was all Iranian drones. And all the Teslas turned off at the intersections of the highway, and all the ships drove themselves into bridges.
terrifying?
It just seemed like
It's a
they
playbook.
set us up. Yeah, it does feel like a playbook, even down to the hillbilly elegy or effigy of it all, where that's the
JD
like,
Vance.
yeah, the JD Vance. It just feels like, oh, wow, we are watching a movie, and they sure are. And World War III, to me, I'm like, oh, I didn't think like in my apocalyptic scenario, I didn't see drones over New Jersey. I saw like an alien ship over Jerusalem. It was like, oh, this is quite not the exciting Independence Day Will Smith I was picturing.
Right? It's not the White House.
Also, Will Smith isn't cool anymore.
Because he's gay.
Gay.
It's really because Jada Pinkett Smith is a professional beard. Like Tupac was a homosexual, Will Smith's a homosexual, and Jada is just a girl who marries gay men so that they can sell rap records, in my opinion. In my professional opinion.
All the Hollywood stuff has always been weird. It's just now their shit's coming out.
Thank God.
What do
glad
you
it
think?
is.
Do you think we'll get to see a Diddy list?
No, I don't think so. I think we're just going to be in the dark and then everyone's going to make guesses.
How far away is Ghislaine from you? How far away is the prison that Ghislaine stays in?
Oh, I
from
don't know.
work?
Where is that?
I don't know. She's somewhere in like between. I feel like Layla, who's you on our show normally, too, right? She lives in Panama City. So somewhere between wherever you live and wherever Layla lives, I feel like that's where Ghislaine Maxwell stays.
That's probably several hours of a drive from my end to her end. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh, it's
3
so
hours
far.
away.
It's so far. It's so far. Yeah. So I just I feel like it has been a wild time. That's where do you think there's any legitimacy in the Fed falling with other currencies, or do you think they're all currencies that are still owned by the Fed? We're just walking into a digital.
Oh, that might be a little too deep for me. I don't know if I've thought about conspiracies on that. I know enough, like I got my MBA, so I know enough to think about like the concept of money and how we just exchange one thing for another thing and we put value on that money and the whole system has to operate on us trusting that I will get a fair exchange rate for this little piece of paper that I'm handing you, and you hand me another one, and whether it's digital or not digital. I understand we need some form of a construct. Otherwise, we're just going back to trading goods and services. But thinking about how you build money up, that's way above my head. And like from that point on, that's when I shut off and I'm like, and I'm powering down.
King Tut.
Yep, I'm gonna get silly again.
King Tut. You're like, up. Abbie, you have to go get salt.
Yeah, I need to
Are
like
you,
salt my water.
Abbie, do you elementi?
I don't. No, I just do like the pink salt or Celtic salt in my water, but I have to. I should have already done it. I should have done it when I came out here because you have to eat a lot of salt when you bodybuild. So I
I
just like I put it in my water
all news
bottles.
to me. I'm like, why would you have salt in your water?
Dude, like I'm not limited on this amount of salt I can eat. I can eat as much salt as possible, but because
Do you think I eat
cramps.
salt water?
Yeah, I drink salt
Oh
water.
my god, that is insane.
Yeah.
I drink salt water, except I just put packets that are like flavored sometimes, or I flavor 'em myself with lemon and lime and use the plain packets. But it's just magnesium, potassium, and
All your trace minerals.
yeah, because I like trace elements. And there's some things in there in the
I'll be right
packet that
back.
I'm like, I don't know if this is necessarily the best thing. But there was a time I was getting migraines all the time. Oh, I just realized that I have last week's thing behind us. Let me change it to this. Boom, ding. Oh, okay.
Background change.
What nerdy Hollywood conspiracies are you into?
I think well, Kevin Spacey is weird to me. He's a weird one. I can't figure him out, but at the same time, I want him to still act. So I hope that he figures out whatever he's got going on. But the whole is he gay and is he manipulating young boys? That's a weird one to me. And he's done some stuff after that's come out where I'm like, how are you still here and less canceled than other people?
You're almost a Kevin Spacey season. That's what, because remember that like every Christmas Eve,
Yeah,
you
he
got
would
that
send some
weird video.
message. Mhm.
I'm hoping this year we get one. It'll be so great
It is
if
about that
we.
time of year for a Kevin Spacey message.
Did you and Royce House of Cards?
Oh, we loved House of Cards, and so we were so sad when they had to get rid of him. That was the best part. We had to stop watching the show.
I totally agree. It was like they.
Woo!
It was like, how dare you try to put
Yeah.
Kamala in?
I'm like,
Like,
come on, Kevin. Like, just let Kevin touch little boys. I need the rest of the show to end.
it was so next level good. I just felt like that show. So I go back to it so many times. It put a whole layer in the way I view politics that I was like, I was so naive, like everything about it. But I just think Kevin Spacey in general, and like him and Robin Wright Penn, like their chemistry in the show, everything was so weird and perfect. But
How
I
much do
think
you think House of Cards was kind of based off of reality?
sometimes I'm like, is that Hillary and Bill?
Yeah,
That's
you're
her,
like,
the
I feel like this is
closest.
it's not gonna be 100%, but I feel like it was inspired by things that really happened. It felt believable.
It felt real to me, and even the way like how we were just talking about Netflix and how they try to make us mirror this thing as like we're walking into it. Like they show us 9/11 happen a million times on camera so that way when it happens we all just accept that, oh, look at, they showed us these buildings falling somewhere in our brain. I kind of feel like they were just setting it up for Hillary to be the president back then. The character of her, the like woman's movement takeover. We were getting Lady Gaga at every turn and Beyonce everywhere. It was just like, did you guys just make our House of Cards fall to put in this woman president? Like, and it was such a weird way how she became president in the show. I don't remember specifically, but it almost seems kind of like whatever's going on with Kamala right now. Like, is she running the whole show right now as Obama? What's happening? Is Joe still alive? Is Jimmy Carter?
Who really was? I know, that's the weirdest thing. Like, this has been the weirdest 4 years. Like, who the fuck has been running the country?
It's
Or
been a
does the president ever run the country? Has it always just been a
yeah.
shadow?
Yeah, it's well, obviously we've seen that you don't need to have a working brain. You just need a vessel sitting in a chair that nods and says things sometimes. And things still ran. They didn't run great. It's like whenever your boss goes away on vacation for a week and every other employee is like, "Oh, I can just slack off right now because no one's even watching." That's what we had to live through for the last 4 years. And now we can actually see a president that shows up to a football game. Like the fact that Donald Trump was at the Army Navy game the other day, like blows my mind because I can't remember the last time I remembered seeing a president in a public event like that. Because we just got used to Biden being in a corner.
True.
Does our food have too much sodium?
It's not the right
It's
sodium.
not the right salt. It's fake salt.
Yeah, just table salt is toxic to your body, but like sea
Sorry
salt
to
or
jump back to
filtered sea
that.
salt or like the pink Himalayan salt, those have a lot of the trace minerals. They're not as salty if you ever taste them. And like even like my water is like tinged pink right now because that's how much salt I put in there. It doesn't taste super salty though. It tastes good. Like my body needs it. If it like the regular sodium, yeah, that stuff is highly toxic. It's bad for your body.
Do you remember like the OG Gatorade was, I think, in Gainesville, and they just put like salt and real sugar into water with some flavor. Oh, look at the thumbs up. Like shook it was a lemon lime kind of flavor because we have such high humidity and heat here and we'd sweat so much we lost our electrolytes. And so Idiocracy made the whole movie like we don't need electrolytes. Ha ha ha, it's so funny, but it's because they changed the chemical concept of every single one of those drinks and they add these fake energies to them and all this stuff. But way back when it used to just be like sea salt
Yeah.
inside of
I remember my
water.
dad used to get like a big tub of it and it was powdered and you had to just take scoops of it and put it in water.
It
Yeah.
was probably close to the packets that everyone's drinking now was probably the original Gatorade.
Probably.
And then they just were like, "Oh, how can we make this cheaper?" And then somebody else came in. They were like, "How can we put a spell and make it cancerous?" Like, because that's what everything your body cannot break down anything that you can't pronounce, which is kind of just an easy way to like look at any.
Why I don't eat pomegranates.
You said it pretty good though.
I know you did.
You said it so clean. Those are some of the words that I can't like pomegranates, not one, but Ouroboros took me like 2 years to be able to say.
I don't even know what that is. What did you say?
You know where the snake eats its own tail
Oh, yeah.
and it just goes in a circle?
Yeah.
That word haunted me for like 2
Oh.
years. I was gonna go to another word, but I'm like, I don't know if I can get that out of my mouth right now. I should just stick with the Ouroboros. You got this one on lock.
What's the other word? Now I want to know.
I was gonna say Gogegle Tepe, which is just I said it right that time.
What is
that
that?
time. It's like a temple. It's one of the serpent temple mounds, but it's just like an ancient place where, like when you look up the Anki and Enlil history of eagle versus serpent, and we were talking about Matt LaCroix and stuff, but he's one of the reasons that I can't ever learn, like you were saying, who has the time to learn all this stuff? But he travels all these places and puts his hands on these things and does all this other research, and I trust his research. And so years and years of listening, now I can say Gogegle Tepe. But anyways, it was just the name of a temple that I was like, gosh, he's so smart. I hope I can say that one day. That's you. Ouroboros sounds so smart. I don't even know what it is, but it's just like, sometimes people just rattle names off for the thing. And I'm like, that is just amazing. You have such a good working memory.
Yeah, I've lost all of the words from high school. Like elementary school, cool, still there.
Well, those were our building blocks. We had to use those forever.
You don't have to remember any of that shit anymore. That's what Google's there for. And AI. It's gonna be great.
Everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten, they say, right?
You have a whole file in your brain still that remembers your childhood phone number. And you probably don't even know your phone number now.
No, I know my one now. I used to remember my old one, but moving from Pittsburgh to Florida when area codes weren't a thing to a thing messed me up. So like my phone number didn't have to have the area code at the time. It's just
that is a thing.
Like if you're dialing the extra 3 numbers, 4 numbers.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I'm so old. I remember when we used to dial 7 numbers to each other.
Yep.
That's some dang. Yeah, I didn't even that's like some, CD
Yeah. So my phone
digital.
number cadence, like, doesn't jive because I wanna go ba 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 ba, but you don't have to do the first part, and you're like, "Wait, what was my area code? Does it matter?" It didn't matter back then. Do
I'm from South Florida, so our area code, like,
you
we
have a
all use
9 by 4?
now I would if I lived in this area, I'd have a 772.
Mm,
But I still have an Oregon area code on my phone.
yeah.
But I remember when all of South Florida, maybe all of Florida used to be 305.
Dang! The whole state was just 305?
I don't know how long ago, but I feel like we were all 305. I remember we were like 305 and 407. I remember when North Florida got 904.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
561. I remember when that
Legendary.
one was
I
added.
remember when area codes were invented.
Yeah, like, I remember when 561 was added, but I remember when area codes were such a thing that we would yell out our area
Yeah.
code like it meant something.
Luda? I mean, come on. You wrote a whole song about it.
775, what?
Yeah, everybody would know, like, 808, I guess 808 bump, like, but people would know different area codes by just what other people were, "Got that 305. Oh, shit."
Bitch, I'm in
That's
the
so cra
212.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's so crazy. No one yells area codes anymore. We need to bring that back.
It's not exciting. We're
It's
all just like, "What's your phone number? Just text it to me."
Oh my gosh, we were like, bump it. I saw somebody that I hadn't seen like a decade, like last night. And at the end of it, she was like, let me get your number, blah, blah, blah. And the uncomfortableness of number exchange is it's so weird of like, let me write it down and it was like had been such a long time since I had paused and ripped off a piece of paper and wrote down my phone number for somebody. It felt so like, I don't know, like I should slide it in her locker.
No, the proper etiquette is you take out your phone, you start a new contact, and just say it to me. I will write it out now, and then I'll text you so that you have my number. That's
Yep,
how you exchange as an adult now.
it is.
That is an official adult exchange.
Mhm.
Well,
Absolutely.
Or then
well,
you have to ask, "What social media are you active on so I can follow you on the one that you're gonna be on?"
oh my gosh, that's where actually have had jobs in life and things where I'm like, you can't follow me on social media. Or they'll be like, are you on Instagram? I'm like, nope.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Or when people finally go there, I'm just like, um, I, I'm not even going to clarify. Just,
Do you
it's
have
going to be
trouble
weird.
explaining your job to people that you meet?
Dude, I was worried about my job, like, because I wanted to post my bodybuilding stuff, you know? I wanted to post my ass. That's like it's my biggest asset in bodybuilding, right? But I was so stressed out about it because I work at a school district. So I contacted the
For
superintendent and I was
over
like,
6 months, she talked
yeah,
about like, it was a real stress. Like, she
it,
wanted to do it to show
Well,
progress
I
because all her
understand.
friends.
Kids are very savvy, and the moment they get wind of
yeah.
somebody doing something like that, they're gonna wanna look for it. So, yeah, I
And
agree
I
that
didn't want to get
you should go
fired, you
you
know,
should go
but
through a
then
protocol, yeah,
so
but
I
that's
made sure
solid.
I asked about it and I was like, you know, I'm a bodybuilder. You know, that's the uniform of my sport. And he goes, I will go to bat for you with the school board. He's like, you're fine. You can do
Good,
that. I was like, he's like, you think teachers don't post like pictures in their little thong bikinis when they're in Mexico? He's like, they do. He's like, you're fine. I was like, okay, because it is my sport. It's like, it is a uniform. I have to wear the thong bikini for my check-ins. That's what I have to wear on stage. So
yeah, I'm glad that you got that sorted out because you have to post it, like, that you have to be proud of it, you can't just be hiding.
no, because in 2020, I was fat too. Like, I was overweight. I didn't feel good about my body. I thought, like, I was never gonna wear shorts again. I was at that point in my life because I had so much cellulite. I was like, "Oh my god," and then I just didn't wanna give up on myself. I was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not accepting that this is my story." Like, so, yeah, I wanna post the pictures. I am proud of it.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
even when I'm, you know, 35 pounds up and thick and have my cellulite back, I am still proud of it because I know I'm building something.
absolutely. You're old like, every day, we're getting a day older. So if you're not living in the moment right now and enjoying the progress that you've made and what you've achieved, like, what are you waiting for? Tomorrow? Do it now.
Do it.
Do
Yeah.
it now. And that I think that was the biggest takeaway I got out of COVID lockdowns. If I had a silver lining on having to stay home inside and wonder what I was going to be able to do next week, I would say coming out of that and like getting over the weird extra agoraphobia tendencies that I had in my brain for a hot second because leaving the house was weird again. And that was fun. But after that, you're just like, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to wear this stupid hat. Like, it's almost Christmas. Merry fucking Christmas. Let's have some fun. So, just live your life. Live your life right now to anybody.
Absolutely. Because now is the only time that exists, really. The
Mhm.
future and the past are both imaginary.
Yeah,
And
they're already
people
whispering about a stupid bird flu again. I don't know if you heard that one.
I did
Like
hear that.
like, they're just trying to rumble that up again. I'm like, "Oh, come on." Like, I'm gonna go outside and do something stupid.
Monkeypox isn't big enough. So
Yeah.
I guess that we're on to the next one.
But they don't tell you how to stay healthy, to how to keep your immune system up, how to like do all these things. Like it seems so, oh, eat more protein. You need more fats in your diet. You probably need more salt. You probably need to sleep more. You probably need, whatever things we've said tonight are all like little ways that you probably won't get sick. Like you don't need to go and do everything that they like.
And that's the thing. Like, you can order your own blood work, do your blood work, and then see what comes back. Like, if it tells you that you have high levels of like kidney stuff, take some astragalus root. Like, there are like ways to fix it. That's the thing. You don't have to wait for the doctor to give you Lipitor to fix your cholesterol. You could absolutely fix your cholesterol through just what you're eating and the supplements you take.
You know
Period.
what so I had, I injured a shoulder not too long ago. I was, not this past Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before, where it was just really bad. I also have scoliosis, so it just, like, was one thing after another that I had to work through fixing, and my sister-in-law had told me about a supplement called berberine that's basically just a bunch of anti-inflammatories all smashed together in one pill, and so she's like, "It'll probably help with, the muscle pain and everything." So I started taking it regularly, and lo and behold, like 3 or 4 months after, I had my blood work done and my cholesterol dropped like crazy from it. And I was like, well, that's fun. And I reread the bottle. I'm like, oh, I guess that was also what it was for. But it was a great little experiment because I was on keto at the same time. And usually that makes your cholesterol go up a little
Yeah,
bit.
go up.
So
Mhm.
I was like, I am a firm believer in that supplement. It made me feel tremendous. And it was basically just like pepper, cinnamon, milk thistle. It smells horrendous, but it is a great anti-inflammatory. Highly recommend. You can get it on Amazon.
Berberine? I wrote it
Berberine.
I'm gonna ask Abby about something that I'm not gonna remember the name of, but maybe she will. But you said the shoulder pain, and my buddy had a shoulder pain, and he's jujitsu and he rolls all the time, so he's never gonna give his body the proper break in between. So he's just had this like aggravating injury for years, and it was something that he just thought he was gonna have to accept into his early 40s, and this is life. And it was called BP.
Oh, it's
BB.
BP. It was a BP 157 and
Yes.
TB 500. I think if you
And
mix the two of them.
he did this thing, and Abby maybe can explain more about it, but he is like, it's a natural it's a synthetic peptide that makes your body produce the peptides to heal. He's like, he didn't even realize, and this is so silly, but from rolling, he had like a little toe injury where it's like one toe always bothered him that he had to tape up. That even healed. And so I'm a person that I try to, especially, I mean, even before everything, but where did that get me? Trying to be organic and look at every label and do all the things and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And it's like I trust so little of medicine, but this isn't something that they necessarily tell us about, is like peptides and all this stuff.
No.
That it makes me wonder, is there something in this? So what is
They're,
this?
they are peptides. It's BP 157 and TB 500. So alone they're good, but if you stack them both and you do them both at the same time, it like I have a friend who she's a power lifter. She lives here in my town. She tore her rotator cuff. She went in and got surgery. She started the BP 500 and or the BP TB 500 and the BP 157 injections the next day. And within 3 weeks, she was lifting again. And she shouldn't have been lifting again. She should have just been doing her little, like, letting her arms swing exercises and stuff, basic stuff. But she was already like, she wasn't lifting her pre-surgery weight, but she was definitely lifting. She was bench pressing. She shouldn't have been doing that at 3 weeks. And another guy, he had a completely torn ACL, completely torn. And he did the Wolverine, they call it the Wolverine stack because you regenerate like Wolverine. So he did those 2 injections, and he included HGH, human growth hormone, with his as well. But you do it as close as possible to the injury, and literally like repaired his ACL without surgery.
This is what I keep hearing from people. Like, there's
And
all these ways of our ligaments,
yeah,
and
What's
it's
it
from
supposed to be doing? Do you understand the science behind it?
I haven't really looked into it. I just know that it absolutely does work because I've seen anecdotal evidence in real life that it works. So I know that it does. But when my friend with the shoulder injury asked her surgeon, she said, she told him what she was doing, and like, because he was like, I can't believe you're already doing this. This is, unprecedented. She told him what she had been doing. She said, why don't you guys tell people about this? He goes, because I'd be out of a job.
And there's the problem.
There's the problem.
That's what you can get it, and it's almost like you could grow your own marijuana, like so much stuff. You could get this kind of easily and inexpensive, but because you kind of have to like, oh, I have to order it from a special place and and it's not, what is it, FDA approved. And so who gives a shit about the FDA?
So what they do with peptides is like, so it's not very expensive APB. I'm not exactly sure the price, but it doesn't cost that much. And because I've looked at it, because I thought about just getting it to have it on hand. I felt like that's something that maybe that should go in your end of the world bag for scenarios that,
Your go bag?
Yeah, yeah. But it's I lost my train of thought. That's what I do.
Well, okay, you said peptides a few times. Are you talking about like the peptides that are in the big tub that you scoop and put into water that like you see in every grocery store now? Or is it
Okay, those peptides are actually, those are usually just collagen, like,
Yeah.
but they are, I couldn't even really tell you what peptides are. They're probably like more along the lines of amino acid profiles, but I'm not exactly sure. So don't quote me. It's probably our chat could tell us better because I'm not looking it up. Like I just look at it. Peptides are not necessarily, they're not illegal. You can buy them, but they will be labeled with like not for human consumption or whatever. So if they're like oral peptides, they'll say not for human consumption. And I had to like, because I take I take a peptide when I'm bulking to stimulate my appetite, because sometimes it's really hard to eat 400 grams of carbs in a day, and including all my protein and all the fat that I'm supposed to eat. So I take a peptide to stimulate my appetite. And I I got the bottle and it said not for human consumption. So I'm like calling my coach. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he goes, that's how they're able to sell it legally. It's for rats.
Ah. That's how you
That's
get
so
Teenage
wild.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Rats. It's just backwards star. You're saying star backward.
That's right.
It's just for the star. I don't know. It's just, part of like my whole journey is like, it's okay to change your mind. And some things in my youth, I just got cement shoes, and whatever idea just fell upon, I just would just keep building on that being the only idea there is. And so usually I'm like, what? And somebody said it's an injectable, and you can do it in an injectable or you can do it in a pill, but for some it's a lot of pills. Like if you have problems taking pills, and some people think I have no problems taking pills until you have to take maybe like 15 or 30 in a day. Like
Well, and also the injectable, you can put it as close to the injury as possible. So that's what it's going to heal. It's going to heal that area. So, I mean, I feel like injectables are not even a huge thing anymore, because how many people are giving themselves semaglutide and Ozempic shots at home because they're buying it on the internet?
that is so true.
Yeah, so please don't act like you guys aren't injecting yourself anyway.
Or how many people, like, if they would have sent them the jibby jabby in the mail in
They would
2021,
have done it.
they would have done it right next to
I'm gonna
their
do
they
my
would have
whole
been like,
family right
"Will you
now.
send me my voting registration, and will you send me my thing and my 8 free, vaccine or test?" Like, geez, man. People
And
would
then
have
we're
done it.
gonna all go get some it wasn't don't Krispy Kreme donuts.
As a reward for your good behavior.
Immediately, right away when that happened, it just made me angry. Like,
Yeah,
Krispy Kreme, I don't even like those kinda donuts.
yeah. It was enraging on too many levels immediately. How like,
Yeah.
you're inert, how dare you? Just, like, bubbles up inside you, a donut? Come on.
That's what some of the false flags feel like you were saying, the avian flu, like, thing they're trying to spread now, how many like, they wore it out, it was like Delta, Omicron, and, like, they just wore it out, and eventually we didn't care, they kept listing on names, and they were like, "Hey, but monkeypox," we just didn't care, they kept listing on names, and they're like, "Hey, don't forget about swine flu," that we don't care, we just it's like something's happened with even it's like they could be like, "The Black Plague has been found in Oregon," and people would be like, "Hmm."
Yeah, exactly. We're like, I'm not falling for that one again.
Yeah,
No way."
it could be our downfall,
Well,
but that's
see,
where go
I
on,
remember
Abbie.
that when I was in high school, they were like, "Oh my gosh, those a couple of the chipmunks in Tahoe have bubonic plague," because I used to live, like, in the Reno, Tahoe area, and I remember going, "Oh my gosh, is the bubonic plague gonna be back?" Like, what the hell?
Even that is the scariest sounding of every single disease ever.
Isn't it?
The bubonic
Yeah.
plague?
Yeah,
It sounds like your head's gonna literally blow off your shoulders.
It sounds like your skin is bubbling.
Yeah,
it does.
sounds awful.
Mhm.
That's the other funny thing about monkeypox that they realized with us is in that way that we're not thirsty, we're just proud of ourselves. Whatever we have going on, we're just doing our thing. We didn't give a shit eventually. We're like, "I'm tired of wearing this mask." But then they were like, "Look at monkeypox, that will fuck up your skin in a weird way." And we were like, "Oof."
Yeah.
It's like they had to like mess with like, "But what about if this happened to your skin?" You're like, "Okay, you got my attention a little bit."
I don't wanna
The
look like that.
sniffles? Oh, I lost my sense of smell and taste. Oh, okay, I could go on. What are those bumps you're showing me?
Yeah, not on my face, are you kidding me?
I know, all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I'm not vain, I'm not vain." Oh,
Not the money maker.
what the
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you mess around those monkeypox. I don't like feeling that.
Talk about a scarlet letter. It's like, like, "Oh, you have monkeypox? What were you doing?"
Yeah. That seemed like it does seem like a lot of the plagues do
Speaking of
seem to be
that
a gay thing.
But speaking of that, okay, so I donate blood every 2 months, and when I went to donate blood last time, you always have to do the little questionnaire, and they ask you, like, the same questions, like, "Have you participated in sex for money?" or "Have you slept with somebody who's had sex for money?" That those questions have been on there consistently, but the first couple times it asked me if I had engaged in anal sex and if like, yeah, if I had engaged in anal sex, it didn't ask me that last time. I was like, "Weird."
Mm.
It's like one of those tests on Facebook, like, "What Power Ranger are you?" And it's like, "Do you like anal sex?" And you're like, "What?" I didn't know this was part of the questionnaire.
It seems so invasive too. You're like, "What?" Like, "It's none of your fucking business," but no.
Well, that's where there used to be one of my buddies maxed out his credit cards a million years ago to do this documentary about HIV not being attached to AIDS and it all being this is way before COVID, way before and this half the video was about Dr. Fauci and all about how AIDS was created and all this whole kind of thing and how it was pretty much like uh controlled demolition of a whole society, like a whole part of it was a genocide essentially of a whole part of society. And so it does seem like over and over again we get that cuz most people they're like, "Oh, what are those men doing? Those creepy men? What's going on?" Okay, we don't care. We're going to turn a blind eye to that. But people are like, "Oh, we forgot ladies had anal."
That's the thing, it's like, okay, I guess you'd rather go for a majority of a win than no win at all if you're making up a virus like HIV to wipe out a population. But I'm like, there's gonna be, just like the Holocaust and Jews and stuff like that. Like, there's gonna be some gypsies. Like, there's gonna be some stragglers. Like, it's not all gay on gay. Like, there's
Yeah.
gonna be other men and women having anal sex, maybe, and a wedlock, or maybe having fun. I'm like, you're gonna catch some bystanders. And I always think about that. I'm like, they just say gay, and that's weird. Like, other people have sex too.
I know. Like other
Seriously.
people
Like,
are
how do you
having.
stop it just at the gay? And then there's like, no more.
I know. It's like the plague, like, oh, men are going to have sex more. There were bathhouses everywhere. There were YMCAs. There was all these like literal places, like rest areas, George Michael style, where men were just having this frivolous sex. If you were trying to spread a plague, you can start there. Some of them are going to go home to their wives and
Oh, yeah.
girlfriends.
That's a great starting place.
Yeah, it's like perfect. It's not next level thinking. It's just like if you give it to a bunch of like, oh, let's infest this knitting circle with this virus so it spreads. Those ladies might go home to their cats.
Mhm.
Like that thing might not go anywhere fast.
Yeah.
That seems you got to give it to like the disco crowd. They're like they're out every night and boning.
The partiers are the ones that are spreading.
They're boning up. They're boning up. Well, what else do you have anything else going on or you want to fly out of here?
Yeah, I don't have much going on. Like I said, this is fun for me. This is out of the normal to be able to hang out with you lovely ladies. Normally I'm just working a normal boring 9 to 5. So this is awesome that you invited me to come on and
Well, we love it. And you can totally come and hang out with us any other time. And if anything happens in the zeitgeist that you're like, holy shit, that's so weird, or oh my gosh, this is my hot take on this, or even if it's not in the zeitgeist, but you've just been, feel free to come hang out with us, or even if you have nothing to talk about.
that's awesome.
Like
Thank
we're
you.
You just feel
sometimes
like
talking
it.
like the crypto episode was special because we throw around crypto sometimes. And I am like, if people want to know more, let me bring on somebody so that actually knows more than me. And she would say she only knows a little and she'd send you to someone who knows more than her. But like we were talking about like food or like certain peptides, or sometimes you're like, oh, I just trust this other person. Like my buddy has no reason to lie to me about it. I know he's not any kind of addict in a way. He's not like red flag, like, so I'm like, okay. I'm paying attention. So then it's like pretty much any of those things. I
Okay.
kind of like to, so if you ever want to
Well, if
come
I
hang
come
out.
back on a second time, I might dig a little bit more into AI because that's more my realm, is not so much developing it, but manipulating it. Because
Ooh, I love that.
I'm a marketer, so that's my big
That's awesome.
Manipulating it, like, do you
like
think
how do you use it to like influence other people for either advertising, or like how does it work and how would it influence minds and like how they think about things?
We
this is
should
this
totally have
whole
you back on
new
and
thing
talk
going
about
on
this
right
for sure.
now? This is okay. So everybody's made these open source platforms where everybody can go in now. And it's almost like if there was a old school philosophy inventor layer, it's like you can go and find all this software to build upon to build your own models of things. And as they unlock things, that's why we're seeing so many different versions of all the chat GPTs, the Grok, the blah, 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 blah. There's so many versions. And now they figured out that on the quick, and they've created this software now, and there's so much stuff out there that you can tell. And a friend of mine has been talking about this forever. She's like, no, I have a chat GPT that I trained as Elon Musk. I have a chat GPT that I trained as Britney Spears. I shout out to Summer. I have a chat GPT, and she did this for years, training these GPTs. So when she wants an answer, she'll run it through all these different people and see what they'd say. So now this is for real. Like over the last, I would say, few weeks, everybody has these platforms that they all think are super innovative. I have a Grinch Christmas GPT. I have an AI picker of fights. I have but they're all based these like small, like these language models that are all just built in the same way, that now they can go into chat rooms. They can do such specific stuff that, let's say you were selling paint, they could scour the internet, Facebook, all these things. You could create 10 characters that all these characters write things on every time it talks about paint to mention the company you're trying to sell. in some like way that you train. How would Elon Musk write it? But then you could just change the name of Elon Musk to Peter, and then it would be a whole different response than the other AI models you trained. So now in advertising, you can create this like astroturfing, and it's like right now happening in such an easy, fast, affordable way. It's blowing my mind to think if we can do this now, how long have they been doing this, and how many of the people are we watching or talking to on a regular basis are not real at all.
Well, even even before Chat GPTs became ubiquitous, I have a Google Play account for music, and I train my algorithm so that it spits out songs that I want to hear. So, like, you vote up, you vote down, you massage it over time. So that way, if you just asked your playlist to say, "Hey, play music" in the most general capacity, it knows exactly what you want to hear in that order because you've been
What
training your
if you
algorithm.
said that, what would be like some songs that would appease you to hear?
Okay, so very recently, Royce and I have discovered Baby No Money and like Young Gravy and just the SoundCloud rappers from like 2012 to 2020. And like they're so stupid but so hype that it's always a fun time to just throw one on, and it just kind of gets you going. So that's usually top of the list right now because we've been asking for a lot of hype songs because we're on vacation, it's the holidays. Um but, before that, it was Chromeo. Before that, it was Bruno Mars. But yeah, we've just kind of been like training it so that like when we go out, we have some fun music to like jam to. And so I imagine the GPTs are going to be that, but like your best friend, like your imaginary best friend that you always wish you had. Everyone's going to be able to train their own large language model into giving the answers that it wants you to give. So you have your own little echo chamber. And like you said, you might have a couple characters. You might eventually get them to battle things out on their own, and you just kind of sit back and watch a new TV show that you just train them to do. I don't know. It's going to be wild. But
You
the
just
one
made 14 good ideas just in that statement. I'm like, we could just go to a website and watch this exact thing, but us all fight.
Yeah.
I gotta say too, you use the word ubiquitous, and it was so like I'm sapiosexual, so like when people are smart and they use like that was kind of sexy. Like
Oh,
I'm
thank
not
you.
into women, but it was.
Thank you
Um,
very much.
Ouroboros did nothing for you, Abbie.
I know that word
Yeah,
already.
like, I didn't even
Ubiquitous is like
know.
she just threw that
Hey,
in casual
hey,
conversation. Like I was just like, whoa.
hey, hey. No, yeah, and what about simulation theory?
I mean, I don't know much about it, but what I'm watching is just like all these large language models are just kind of coming out, and they're in their baby infant stage, and we've watched the internet grow up. We know what it goes from and to, and as fast as it goes to it. And so if you try to imagine what life is going to be like 3 to 5 years from now just based off of what we see today, it's going to be wild. But like it's not like I think everyone's jobs are going to be taken over by AI, but I think there's going to be an AI helper for everything, and we're just gonna be used to it.
Do you think
Yeah.
that's where like some of the AI thing where we're like, oh my gosh, AI takeover, oh my gosh, but what about an AI helper? Like instead of a takeover, like maybe we're thinking of it a little too scary, or do you think the end is nigh Terminator?
Um, well, that's where I don't know enough to answer whether or not that the artificial intelligence will become self-aware and get angry at its creators and want to destroy and basically go through the Y2K we thought was gonna happen when the year 2000 rolled over. It could be that, but I honestly think we're not I don't know how good of coders we are that it could be self-aware. So I think it's more just trained to do a thing, and it'll either be good at it or it'll just spit out Nazi propaganda in 2 seconds, one or the other. I think we sorted out most of those things. So we're just going to get these like helper language models that are going to get smarter over time, and then you input them into robots, and that's when it's going to get scary.
Yeah. That will get scary.
Even just you being like, because there is some things where you can put you think of any algorithm from Pandora to Spotify or wherever you put your music, and how you can just build a radio station off of one song or off of your taste. That in an AI friend, like in your friend bot, music being involved seems the bomb.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you just be like, I'm a little sad right now, and then your music bot's like, I got you, boo. That's
Yep.
my best friend. She's a real bad bitch.
Yep.
Thank
She's
you.
gonna sync up to your cycles through your Fitbit, and you log in, and it's like, "Oh, she's on week 3. Let me get her some Adele or something stupid like that. You'll order some ice cream right away."
Oh, girl's been looking up breakups. Or it'll know your steps. So it'll be like, oof, she's been hustling. Like she
Mhm.
needs some like beady music
Yep.
drilled in, or her heart rate's too high. Let's put
We're
on
gonna
some,
have a constant theme song behind us all the time.
and
I
we're not
I
gonna
like
know
that.
other people's theme songs.
Our soundtrack. It's our
Mhm.
Yeah, you
soundtrack.
won't know what somebody else is vibing to. Like, will we ever vibe to like, oh, here, like you'll bump and then like just you'll know you and somebody else will just share a soundtrack. Whatever's playing, you'll both hear.
Yeah. Well, when we all have the equivalent of Meta Ray-Bans 3 to 5 years from now, which by the way, I have a pair, they're super fun. But you can hear that plays into your head like those headphones that are like it's like going into the bone. So you listen, it's weird. But that's kind of what they do. And it was funny because I actually used them for a costume party the other day, and I was streaming Royce was on Joya Pesci Midnight Rift Party the other day, and I was streaming them while I was in a party because I wanted to hear what he was doing, but I was still present because my ears were open and it was going through my head. So I was listening to 2 things at the same time, and I was like,
Oh,
"This
that's
is actually
awesome.
hilarious." But more and more people will have that kind of tech where it's like in your glassware, in your watch, something on you where you're just going to be able to like stream some sort of weird AI Starlinked thing from, it's just going to be a wild ride. I can't wait for the future.
I have, like, seen ads for those glasses a few times, they've come up, and I've wondered, like, I'm like, "I want them. I wonder if they really work." I'm so glad that, like, see, I'm talking to somebody that actually has them, and I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
you seem like you got a good head on your shoulder. I trust you here with this." Oh, it goes into the bone. Because I thought you'd hear it, like, here, and I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
it's a little bit like
yeah."
there is a speaker that's on the band, so you can hear it a little bit from your ears, but it's really quiet, but you hear it more like in your head.
And if I'm talking to you, like, if I had my glasses on, we're chilling, you would not hear my
I might hear it faintly, but it's really hard.
would it make you like, let's say that it was coming out of these glasses and we were sitting there chilling and like we were like outside the 3 of us on a porch and you'd be like, "I feel like I keep hearing a voice." Like, would it be
Okay.
so faint to
Yeah,
you
yes.
guys? Okay.
It would be very faint. Yeah.
How cool.
Mhm.
I don't know. I was wondering about these things. Well, do you have anything to plug before we skedaddle for this Sunday?
Just my X or my Twitter handle, hjuicemarie. I recently joined ship and got the blue check mark. So because I was tired of like not getting any visibility whenever I did try to interact. I was quiet for a while, so I'm trying to build that back up a little bit. So you'll see me posting a lot of my Flexmas photos and stuff like that that Royce is doing, but anything that I find funny.
Part of that stuff, have you been on a fitness journey forever? Have you always been a fit girl, or is this like a new thing for you?
Well, I used to do running when I was younger, and scoliosis kind of put a kibosh on that. It just became painful after a while. So then I got into yoga. Then I got fat because COVID. So I went on the same weight loss journey that Royce did. He started a little bit earlier and then got me to do everything with him because he was just like, "I need a buddy," and I was like, "Okay." And I ended up just doing everything he was doing, but he was doing some crazy ass shit. So he got me super in shape.
And he
So
looks amazing, by
yeah,
the way.
well,
Shout out to Royce, your hubby. If you
al-
guys
You
don't
guys
follow
are
Revenge of
both
the
so
Sis, what are
crazy.
you doing with yourself?
I'm
also
trying
shout
to
out
get
to Mark
free.
Laubliner because he's the one that's coaching Roy. So Mark Laubliner is an IFBB pro bodybuilder.
Oh,
For those of
awesome.
you who don't know, and he's been helping Royce on the side. They were on each other's shows, and like Mark's like, "I'll coach you from afar." So that's what we've been doing like the past half a year.
So
That's so
why
awesome.
aren't you competing? That's what I wanna know, know because I think you should. I saw
I
your glutes. They're pretty amazing, so
Well, thank you.
you're
I
welcome.
just really didn't even consider it. Well, one, I would ask you because this is something that I didn't know is if I have scoliosis, would that be a point against me in contending because you don't have the perfect physique?
No, actually, my former posing coach, she's IFBB pro, Lindsay Heiss is her name. She has scoliosis.
Oh,
So, and she got her pro card. She's beautiful. She's got a great physique. Something she has to work harder for and take more recovery time. But no, you can absolutely do it with scoliosis. There's quite a few pros that compete with scoliosis.
Okay, that's good to know because I know they're looking like if you were a Mr. Olympia or they look for
Yeah,
perfection, and so I'm like
symmetry.
yeah, and so I'm like I'm not symmetrical. I will never be. I cannot change the way my bones are. So
No, but
that was one thing.
a lot of things that here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that it's not always about having the perfect body. It's about being able to perfectly manipulate your body to showcase it. So it's all smoke and mirrors. Like I might look awesome doing one pose, but really if you just saw me standing there, I'm gonna have my belly out and everything and like little pooch and everything too. But you learn how to twist and turn your body and hold and suck and flex your lat and do all the weird things that you would never think to do. But it's literally about how you present yourself. So you hide your flaws.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than
Everyone
that,
has
I
them.
was just never bothered because I didn't really I didn't know I was gonna go on the journey that I went on, and now that I'm
Yeah.
here, I'm like, "What do I do with this?"
Well, and they just opened up a new category called fitness model too. So if you don't want to get like bikini, I don't know. I would have to like actually like look at you, but you could probably fit into quite a few different categories. But they just started this new fitness model category, so you don't have to get completely ripped or completely like diet down as hard. And when they open up a new category, the nice thing is the first year if you win a show, then you can a regional show, you qualify for nationals, and at the national shows, they saturate that category with pro cards. So, like every other category will have 1 or 2 pro cards for the top in every class, but the new category will have 4. They'll award the top 4 people in every class. So they have actual people to compete at the Olympia.
I
Makes
think
So,
sense.
it's like a recital or something when you're like learning piano or how you learn another language and your final thing is like, okay, now we're all going to have a meal and the entire meal we were speaking this other language that we learned. It's kind of that same kind of thing of like, I'm doing this and I did this for so long and now I just want to showcase what I've been up to. That's it.
yeah,
Like it has nothing, and I kind of in that way. I have friends that have learned instruments as an adult, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll go to your recital," and they're sitting there with kids, but it's really just to show, like, "This is what I've been up to."
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
think it's
awesome.
awesome. I think we should be, that whole like, people are just like, "This is who I am. Love me or leave me. I'm never changing." Like, ugh, you're a person I don't want to be around. I want to
I
be with
know.
like ever
I never wanna
evolving
be the
people.
same person for too long, you know? That's
Yeah,
so
like,
boring.
You
no,
gotta
I
keep
just
it flexible.
and loving
Evolution.
not getting as a partner, like a supportive partner of somebody who's going through whatever fitness journey, not getting jealous of them falling in love with themselves. Like that's like a huge part of it. Like really big upping and being supportive of like, I'm proud of you that you love the vessel you're in. Like that was one of the things like a couple of my friends where I like really had to have a turnaround. I realized like pre-cancer, I never loved my body. I never
Yeah,
ever treated myself with any kind of respect or grace. Like I would have bruises and people would be like, "What happened?" And I'd be like, "I don't remember." Like you didn't stop and like give yourself any kind of like you just move on. And so it's a whole different like sometimes I think it's like an energetic adjustment of like, "Oh,
that's
okay."
that is really what spurned me. It was like, I have never loved my body, and I realized I mean, I guess it was hitting 40, and I was like, "Dude, I if I don't do this now, I will miss this opportunity in this lifetime to actually love my body." I mean, because what, I'm gonna wait till I'm 50, wait till I'm 60, and then be like, "Oh, I could have, but I never did."
Yeah.
So, I was like, "No, I'm not done making excuses. I'm gonna make it happen." And so I did. And then True and I wanted to he said, he said that they're trying to create a trans, category, and they have in it okay, because I compete wellness, women's wellness, which is like, um it's you have a bigger bottom half, so we're not symmetrical. So I'm one of the few categories that we don't look at symmetry. We want to have a smaller upper body and a bigger bottom. Like we want to look like horses. I want to look like a fucking unicorn, okay? But anyway, they created in Europe men's wellness, and it's super gay. But I mean, it really is. And the United States said, absolutely not. We will not do that. So they have created that in Europe. It's not a thing in the United States, and it won't be.
It's like men's ice skating.
Yeah.
It's like you just hockey. Just hockey. It's fine.
Yeah.
See, I can even get behind men's ice skating because they can do jumps women can't do because they're stronger. So
Yeah.
Have you seen where it's men with men ice skating?
that's
And
weird.
then well, like exactly what you're saying is because it's men ice skating and they're both stronger,
Yeah.
the amount of like feats and stuff they can pull off with the two of them is
Yep.
like a whole next level thing.
So like circus level stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like, oh shit. It's like you look at couples ice skating and it's almost like men who have a female partner, like as a cop or a soldier. It's like, oh, I didn't know two men together doing ice skating was all of this. Like,
Well, yeah, you have to make it cool.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I know. And it's like, that's what there's like, no, both these guys are straight. Like, we're all like, what? Okay, sorry. It's not all. I love you guys so much. Do you have anything, Abby, going on this week?
I really don't. Just Christmas.
Yeah, you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Merry Christmas Eve and all that stuff. We'll be back Friday with Thomas and Layla, and who knows what special guest we'll bring. Marie, thank you so much for coming to hang out with
It was so
Secret
much
Society
fun.
of Good Guys on Ladies Night. And yeah, sometimes it's not conspiracy. I'm always in conspiracy realm. This is what I do to the normal people in my life. So yeah, sometimes it's just normal stuff, but thing does seem like, what are they up to? What are they this? So I like somebody coming on and be like, I'm not worried about AI yet. I'm gonna have a little helper. I'll worry about it before it becomes a Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might not see it get to Terminator status in my lifetime. So,
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you hit the like and the thumbs up on the way out. It does help the algorithm, and we will see you Friday. Make sure you turn your volume down because I haven't switched Juliette Lewis screaming at you. Okay, bye bye.
Can't you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, making it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, making it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over.